And we are live. Hello, Podfeet. How are you doing this fine evening?
I'm doing good, Steve. I've got a nice sparkling water here in a Yeti. What do you call these? Thermos.
Thermos?
It's
Yeah.
lovely.
Yetis
it's
are good.
delicious. Stay hydrated, everyone.
Mm-hmm. And I will stay hydrated as well. Beer's known
What kind
for
of beer are
doing
you
that.
drinking?
This is, believe it or not, a Kirin.
Oh, okay.
Something a little bit lighter.
Lindsay's
little
been
lighter
drinking
than-
a slap and tickle all weekend. You just got to go over and mess with her when she says it too, right?
That's their slightly lighter beer. Their stronger beer is slap and tumble.
Is it really?
Yeah.
You're not making that
I think
up?
it's a double IPA, the slap and tumble.
Nice. 90-minute dogfish?
Ooh.
Is that a beer? What is that? A whiskey?
IPA? There you go.
Okay. I wish I liked IPAs because there are a lot of IPAs in this house.
There are.
This is an IPA place. They don't mock me, but there's rarely a beer I can drink here.
The long fin
All right.
lagers are a little on the light side.
It's okay. I had a Pilsner yesterday. They had a couple of Pilsner, but you drank one of the last ones, so now I
Whoops.
can't have that. All right, should we get the show on the road?
Yes. Oh, I don't even have the chat room there, and I don't think you did, or did you? Did you do?
Oh, no, I didn't do roll call. All right, let's see. We've got Kevin and Seamus and Bruce and Mike and John and Sandy and Steve and Zoe. And I heard somebody say hi to listener Lynn, so she must be there in the sidebar somewhere.
She's been chatting away. I know she's here.
Okay, good. And then somebody asked a question about Pie Man, but I haven't seen Pie Man.
Yeah.
Is he here?
I haven't seen him.
Oh, yeah, Pie Man 71 in the sidebar. We'll see if he's actually here. If he's
He may
faking.
not be here, though.
All
The only
right.
confirmation is when they chat.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started, Steve. Here we go.
All right.
Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, July 6, 2025, and this is show number 1052. Well, next weekend is Macstock. If you haven't signed up yet, use Podfeet, all capital letters, for $50 off. But you've probably made your plans by now, so I hope to see you there. Anyway, since I'm going to be gone for Macstock, I'm working really hard to get everything ready to push out next week's show before I leave. That means there will be no live show on Sunday, July 13th. No live show Sunday, July 13th, okay? Now, your first hint will be that you'll already have a podcast in your feed because with any luck, I'm going to be publishing the show on Wednesday. Now, I'm going to miss chatting with y'all, but quite a number of the live audience will be at Macstock, so that'll help take the edge off. Why did I cut it off so quickly? Live audience will be at Macstock, so that'll help take the edge off.
And Sutter is here.
Sutter. Now, I'm going to miss... Now, I'm going to miss chatting with the live audience, but you know what? Quite a number of the live audience will actually be at Macstock, so that'll help take the edge off. Okay.
Didn't know you were still recording.
That's okay. Yeah, I decided to re-record that piece. Bring our 20th anniversary t-shirts, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
I bought a third one, so that's all I'm going to wear. I'm going to wear a
Wait,
20th
phrasing.
anniversary shirt every day. Well, I don't know. After what Dave Hamilton did last year, actually, have you guys heard this story? Dave Hamilton, in the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning, got up to use the restroom wearing only a hoodie, and I mean only a hoodie, and he walked out the wrong door. He walked out the door to his room. He didn't have the keys to his room in the
Wasn't
pocket.
he sleepwalking?
No.
He actually got up and was aware?
Yeah.
Semi-aware.
Yeah, well, he was aware that he was outside of his, outside of the room with nearly nothing on, so he had to go down to the lobby wearing literally only a hoodie.
He probably wasn't prancing around. He's being very
Picture
careful how he
holding
stepped.
it down. Only Dave. I was thinking of Steve. We should bring him a pair of pajama pants.
Just in case.
I could give them to him on stage.
Oh, for that instance where he steps
Yeah, maybe
outside,
before he talks. I don't know. There's got to be something funny we could do there, right?
probably.
All right. I am going to do this article next. Okay. Oh, I need my jingles. Oh, I moved my jingles. Jill, did you know you can? Oh, you probably know it, but you can move your audio files off, or the favorites off of the screen, and I've done that now, so you can actually see more of the screen. I can see more of the screen, which is really nice. So let's see here. Here we go. Well, I love the Apple community, as you probably have figured out. And this week, I especially love the Apple community on Mastodon. Hashtags are super powerful there. So when I needed some help this week, I added the hashtag Apple, and people came out of the woodwork to help me. Here was the problem I was trying to solve. I was working on my presentation for Macstock, and I'm really good at procrastinating creating charts because I hate charts. In the book, The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs, Carmine Gallo explained that Steve Jobs didn't use words on his charts. He used simple pictures and then told a story. Gallo used the example of one time when Jobs was talking about an anniversary for the company, and he simply put up a picture of a birthday cake. This book changed the way I do presentations. But I still procrastinate making my charts. Now, Jill from the Northwoods and Chris Cook, gotta pronounce people's names correctly. Jill's going to be late. She's mowing the lawn, I think. Jill from the Northwoods and Chris Cook were both done making their charts weeks and weeks ago, and I just kind of started it this last week. Well, one of my 2 talks is about ways people can share what they know to help others. I created 9 charts with cute little graphics and 0 words on them, all with the help of ChatGPT. There's a lot of words in the speaker notes so that I can remember what my silly little graphics mean, and I'm pretty happy with the way it came out. By the way, it was kind of interesting as I was asking ChatGPT, I kept it in the same thread, and it started to kind of change the style of the graphic, and I was able to say, no, go back, keep using that colored graphic the way you were doing it. And there's a really pretty good consistency to the way the images look. And so anyway, I'm pretty happy with the way the presentation was coming out. Now, at this point, I was done with the touchy-feely part about why you should share information and all of the different ways you can contribute in user groups, but I wanted to switch gears to talk about the tools I use to help other people in sharing what I know. Now, making screenshots and annotating them is one of the most important tools I use. I figured I wouldn't start with the fancy tools like Shotter and CleanShot X, but instead I'd start with the simple screenshot tool built into macOS. If you don't know about it, screenshot.app is hiding inside the Utilities folder inside Applications. When you launch screenshot.app, you get a little overlay on your screen that has buttons to take a full screen screenshot or a windowed screenshot, an area screenshot, and it also has buttons for making video recordings. I wanted to put a screenshot of the screenshot.app app on the chart that I was working on. But how do you figure out how to take a screenshot of screenshot.app? Well, I started by launching screenshot.app, and then I tried to use Shotter's keystroke to capture the area that included the screenshot.app overlay, but nothing happened. Then I tried using CleanShot X by going up to the menu bar, but nothing happened. Then I switched tools, and I tried using CleanShot X. And the way I tried to use it was I went to the menu bar and I tried to click on the menu to take a screenshot. But I couldn't do that while screenshot.app had frozen my screen. I grabbed my phone and I took a picture of the screen while holding it very, very still. One of the problems with taking a photo of a screen is that you get these interference patterns because of the shutter speed of the camera versus the refresh rate of the screen. If you hold still long enough when you take the photo... No, not long enough. If you hold still enough... If you hold still enough when you take the photo and you take it as a live photo with an iPhone, you can change the live photo to long exposure, and then you get rid of those interference patterns. They just kind of blend together. If you don't hold still, you just get a big old blurry image, so you got to be careful to hold still. Well, this looked okay, and I was able to trim the photo and then do a little bit of editing to try to make the contrast and brightness look okay. Wasn't great, but technically I had a picture of the screen and the screenshot.app application. Now, I put out my plea on Mastodon asking, how can I do this? And I got a whole slew of answers. I'll give you the ideas in chronological order rather than giving value judgments up front on which one was actually best. Tage at Mastodon.social came back with the first ingenious idea. He suggested I create a video recording of my screen when I launch screenshot.app and then take a screen grab of the video. I told him I was embarrassed I didn't think of that myself. I am a screencaster after all. I figured since this was a quick and dirty job, I'd just use QuickTime to record my screen. But guess what screenshot.app uses to do video recordings? You guessed it, QuickTime. So when you launch QuickTime and choose File New Screen Recording from the menu bar, that's what launches screenshot.app to record your screen. So I couldn't use QuickTime. But that's okay, it was time to bring out the big girl software. I launched ScreenFlow and I told it to record the screen. I launched screenshot.app and then stopped recording. I exported the video as an MP4 and then opened it up and took a screenshot of that. This was so much better than the photo from my iPhone. I later realized that this could look even better. Why on earth did I export the video as an MP4 before taking the screen grab of it? That compressed the video instead of using all of its glorious pixels. I went back to the original ScreenFlow file and biggled it in. I went back to the original ScreenFlow file and bigged it on my screen and took a screenshot that looked perfect. I thanked my new friend Tage for the solution to my problem. But a little bit later, Wayne Dixon and Yope both came up with the same idea. They suggested I use screen sharing into the Mac from a different device. Yope taught me about a terrific free app for the iPad to let me do this, but I'm going to save that as a teaser and make a dedicated article about it so it doesn't get lost in this story. Now, I know all about screen sharing, but it never occurred to me to use it to try to solve this problem. Right next to screenshot.app in your utilities folder inside applications, you'll find an app called screensharing.app. If you have another Mac on the network, you can screen share right into it, assuming you know the IP address and or network name of the device. But there's an easier way. In the left sidebar of the Finder, there's a section called Locations, which may be folded up with a little hidden disclosure chevron. If you don't see anything under Locations, hover over it and flip down the chevron. With any luck, your other Mac will be on the network and it'll be visible in the left sidebar. You'll be invited to connect to it by giving your login credentials, which you can choose to save in Keychain. Once you've connected, you can navigate the file system of the other computer, or you can click this Share Screen button. No need to know the network name or IP address or any of that folderol. Now, if you don't see these options on the Mac, scroll too far. If you don't see these options on the Mac you want to connect into, open System Settings, General, Sharing, and make sure Screen Sharing is toggled on. When you select Screen Sharing to the other Mac, the Screen Sharing app will automatically launch and you'll be asked to choose the screen sharing type. You'll be asked, do you want standard or high performance? I'm not sure it makes a difference for this particular task, but I went with standard. Using this technique, I connected from my MacBook Pro to my MacBook Air, and I was able to easily screenshot.app, and it looked gorgeous. Now, here's the funniest part of this story. Remember early on I said it wasn't possible to take a screenshot of screenshot.app using CleanShot-X? Imagine my surprise when Tim Stringer on Mastodon also replied, and he said, I was able to take a screenshot of screenshot. Wait, it's funny. A screenshot of screenshot. I was able to take a screenshot of screenshot.app using CleanShot-X. Specifically, I did a full screen screenshot and then cropped it down. He even included the screenshot proving he'd achieved his goal. Now, baffled, I asked him to give me a step-by-step since it hadn't worked for me. The difference was that I'd tried to use the CleanShot-X menu bar icon while screenshot.app was invoked. He used a keystroke to invoke a full screen screenshot from CleanShot X. Sorry, these words, all these screenshot words, it's getting confusing. But he used a full screen screenshot from CleanShot X. Now, the reason this didn't occur to me is that while I do use CleanShot X regularly, my main go-to is Shutter. That's where I have all of my keyboard shortcuts mapped, so I didn't have a full screen screenshot keystroke set up in CleanShot X. I launched the app from the menu bar, assigned a keystroke to full screen. Sure enough, just like Tim said, I was able to capture the screen with CleanShot X, even though screenshot.app was running. It was quick work to crop it down like Tim did and get a nice clean shot. That got me to thinking, if CleanShot X could take a screenshot of screenshot.app using full screen capture, maybe Shutter could do this too. In my initial tests, I'd only used my keystroke for an area capture with Shutter. Sure enough, using the full screen capture method in Shutter, I was also able to capture screenshot.app. The bottom line is, I made this a lot harder than it needed to be, but I got to play with old friends and new friends on Mastodon. Knowing there's a community of people out there ready to throw out ideas when you're stuck, it's just wonderful. I enjoyed the mental gymnastics of each of the different solutions too. Now, if you're curious, the screenshot from the video recording in ScreenFlow was the highest resolution version, so Tage's idea, while complex, gave me the best results. The only problem now is that I've no excuse but to get back to working on my presentation for Macstock. All of this work was to make one slide that didn't have any words on it.
Wow.
All right, what did I miss? You like all those pictures of the screenshot?
Yeah. The trouble is, with my new technique of just copying the image, it doesn't grab the title, which would have been kind of helpful with all of
Useful?
these.
Well, if you just take a screenshot.
Yes.
No, but seriously, if
I
you
used
do
to
a
do that.
screenshot and then copy paste, then you would have
It's
it.
more work, but then just a double click to copy image. But I guess I can.
I love that story because what a stupid exercise, right? I made myself laugh.
Well, good.
Well, good. Our next article features a cameo by Sienna.
Yes.
Let's see. Copy. I think. I have to keep changing the size of that. There we go. All right. My little happy, upbeat kids. I love the links people go to this. But by the way, I've managed to make my presentation is like 38 slides long, something like that. And there's only, so one page has words on it, but it's actually demonstrating how stupid it is to just use words and not use screenshots. So it's just this giant glob of text. And then Shutter, I put the URL for shutter.cc because I'm going to tell them about that app. So other than that, oh, good. I'm glad you like it, Sandy. Okie dokie. Time to talk about Eufy again. I started to notice I don't breathe in very deeply, and I take a lot of little breaths. Gotta remember to breathe. All right. Mute. Mute. There he goes. When last we left our heroes, they were giddy with excitement about their new Eufy E340 video doorbell with dual cameras. I described installation of the doorbell as a dream where it took a mere seconds to add to our network. We still had 3 remaining Wyze outdoor cameras, 1 wired and 2 wireless. The wired camera was one of the base model Wyze cams mounted to the corner of the garage looking at our driveway with power snaking inside the garage door. After analyzing the plethora of outdoor cameras available from Eufy, Steve chose the $80 wired outdoor cam E220 to replace the wired Wyze camera. The E220 is a fixed camera with 2K resolution, color video, and motion detection. It's not HomeKit compatible, but none of Eufy's outdoor gear... Actually, that's a clarification. I gotta fix that. They wrote back, there's only 2 cameras that are accessible in HomeKit. Color color video, and motion detection. It's not HomeKit compatible, but only 2 of Eufy's outdoor cameras work with HomeKit. They say they're working on getting more into it, but for now, it's pretty much a non-HomeKit compatible solution. Now, the Outdoor Cam E220 was another easy install to the network using the Eufy app. Just like with the doorbell, you scan the QR code on the camera using your phone, and then the camera scans another QR code in the app on your phone, and you're done. Most of Eufy's outdoor cameras require something called a home base, and we really didn't want another home hub or bridge. We'd resisted for a long time because of this, but now with just 2 cameras left to replace, we rely... And we really... And we really didn't want another hub or bridge. We'd resisted for a long time because of this, but now with just 2 cameras left to replace, we realized resistance was futile. We ended up purchasing the $150 Homebase S380 to go along with this camera and our future outdoor cameras. My understanding was that it would help us put our outdoor cameras into HomeKit, but that does come with that big, huge asterisk, which I'll explain a little bit more of in a bit. The Homebase does provide 2 valuable functions. The most important function is that it can store all of your video recordings from your cameras. Remember, Eufy prides itself on not charging you a fee for storage on cloud-based servers. Instead, you put your own hard drive into this unit to store your videos. For those of you who remember Honda Bob, a dear local friend and an NosillaCastaway, before he passed away, he gave me 2 bare SSDs in this tiny little Pelican case. I've had them sitting there forever, and they're each 500 gigabytes, so I finally found a home for them in our Homebase S380. I think it'd make him very happy to know this was how it got put to use. Now, the Homebase 3 installation is extremely straightforward. I plugged it into my gigabit switch over Ethernet that's plugged into our Gateway Eero router. Then I plugged in the power. When the Homebase finishes booting up, it invites you to use the app to add it to your network using the Eufy app. Just like with the cameras, the app asks to scan the QR code on the bottom of the Homebase. Then it asks you to press the sync button on the back of the device. I'm not exactly sure how we got into this mess, but when we followed this process, the Homebase told us we should add it to the iOS Home app first. Now remember, I was at that time under the impression that I could put the Homebase S380 in HomeKit so all of the Eufy devices would be visible to us in the Home app. So that sounded dandy to us. We scanned the QR code with the Home app, and it was immediately recognized and added as a bridge inside HomeKit. But the S380 Homebase was still not in the Eufy app. When we tried to add it, the Homebase kept telling us to put it in HomeKit first. But HomeKit thinks it's already there. But other than seeing it as a bridge, we couldn't do a darn thing with it. I entered into a frustrating conversation with Eufy tech support via chat. The gentleman attempting to help me didn't make a lot of sense in the way he was answering my questions, and in one case, when I asked him a compatibility question about their products, he sent me a URL that was a Google search. He eventually said I'd be contacted via email the next day by somebody who knew a little bit more. Well, I got the email, and that experience wasn't much better. I noticed at one point that there was an option to escalate the ticket. That was my savior. Shane from Eufy was great. He had me do a couple of things to try resetting the device, which we'd already done a couple of times, but he eventually said, you know what, we're just going to send you a new Homebase. While we were waiting for the Homebase S380 replacement, we bought 2 more cameras to replace our wireless Wise cams. Again, after extensive research, which included another text chat at Eufy for help, we chose the $200 SoloCam S340, actually 2 of them. This is a battery-powered... Please. Somebody remind me to change that one sentence at the beginning that I changed about nothing is HomeKit compatible. Please. These are battery powered and charged with a solar panel. Now look for bundle deals, especially on Amazon if you're interested. For example, they sell a SoloCam E340 and... Why does that say E340S? E340S. These are battery powered and charged with a solar panel. Now look for bundled deals, especially on Amazon. For example, they sell a SoloCam E340 and a Homebase S380 together for $300, which is $50 cheaper than buying them separately. Now, I know this camera, the S340, it costs a lot, but it is insanely cool. So Steve removed the old outdoor Wise Cam, which we had bought as a Founders Edition. It came with a little black cowboy hat as a special gift. The squirrels have loved that hat. They've chewed all of the way through it. Anyway, here's what's cool about the S340. I said it was solar powered, but it's also got AI motion tracking, and it has a 1x and 3x camera. Adding it to the network was easy peasy, following the same process as all of the other cameras. Once Steve had it mounted on the fence where the old cowboy Wise Cam lived, we got to start playing with it. This camera tracks your motion as you run around the yard and zooms in on the subject with that 3x camera. And okay, it doesn't zoom, but you know what I mean. It's a 3x telephoto, but that 3x camera follows the person running around. I put a screenshot of the Eufy app when Steve was in our side yard where we mounted the second E340 solo cam. You could see Steve petting Kepler in the distance by the gate, along with a window an intruder might try to enter. But on the bottom half, the camera's automatically zoomed way up on him. Now, our 5-year-old granddaughter, Sienna, got up early one morning and she ran some experiments by herself to test how it works. Now, I'm chuffed that she's clearly going to be a scientist, of course, but what she did illustrates how this works quite well. In a video that you'll find in the show notes, she walks to side first, watching the camera follow her. Then she squats down and back up to watch it follow her down and back up. Then she tests moving just one arm to one side, and she even tilts her head to one side to see what happens. In all cases, the S340 tracks her every movement in the 3x view while showing the full yard view from the 1x camera. She eventually talks to the camera at the end because I started talking to her through it. Okay, she S340. She S340. The S3, just finding a typo. Oh, should I save? Thank you, Kevin. Oh, yeah, did you put the link to the video in yet, Steve? Yeah. I just love that she did that. It just made me so happy, you know? All right. The S340 also lets you create preset positions for the 3x camera when no little girls are around doing experiments. Our fence where the camera is mounted is only about 6 feet tall, and they recommend 7 to 10 feet up. The downside of having this shorter mounting point is that the camera is pointed down just a wee bit lower than we'd like. At the farthest distance from the camera, on the other side of the yard, 5'9" Steve gets his head cut off if he walks around back there. This is not the fault of the camera, but a mounting problem on our side. We considered mounting the camera on a tilt, but that would have wreaked havoc with the gimbal and the rotation of the camera. All of these features, including people and pet detection, would be lost if we put these cameras into HomeKit. Well, that sentence is just sitting out of there in the middle of nowhere, but okay. Gonna add a little flavor there. As I keep thinking about putting these cameras into HomeKit, I realize that all of these features, including people and pet detection, would be lost if we put these cameras into HomeKit. Now, we got the new Homebase S380, ran through the exact same process we've been trying with the original, and this time it jumped onto the network and was visible in the Eufy app. What a relief. After we had it in the Eufy app, we were able to add the 4 outdoor cameras to the device for onboard storage of video, the E340 doorbell, the E220 outdoor cam, and the 2 S340 solo cams. The other minor function the Homebase provides is a chime for the doorbell. We have the Echo in the kitchen ringing and the chime add-on I described last week, but they're all downstairs. So it's nice to hear it upstairs as well. And of course, the doorbell notifies our watches, our phones, our Macs, my iPad, and on and on and on. Well, by this time, I was thinking, I didn't really want to put these cameras into HomeKit anyway, but I went back to the Eufy site to try to figure out what could be done with HomeKit and the Homebase. Only one camera from Eufy works in HomeKit with the brand new Homebase 3. Now, there's two model numbers, but they're essentially the same camera. And, of course, it isn't any of the ones we bought. Now, before I close out our adventures with Eufy, I want to talk a little bit about the Eufy app. It's really useful, it's really good, and it's often baffling because it has so many features. We've been diving in and back out of menus for weeks, and I suspect we've only explored half of the settings. It's so deep and varied by product that I'm itching to mind map it just so I can understand it. After enjoying constant notifications for 3 days or so while the grandkids were here, I had to spend some quality time figuring out how to tame the notifications. I talked to listener Lynn, and she helped me find where I was able to go into the Homebase 3 in the Eufy app and set up all but the front doorbell to have no notifications during the day, but after nightfall, give us all of the notifications. We're also able to tell it when we're away and when we're back, so while we're gone, we're able to get the notifications we want. Here's a fun fact. The camera that we put on the garage facing the driveway captured something delightful. The people who pick up our trash came with a big trash truck, emptied it with the machine, dumped it in, and then the guy put my trash cans away. He dragged them up by the side of the house. I couldn't believe it. I have video proof that he's a great guy. I don't know what his name is, but I need to find out because it was very nice of him. Now, here's the funny thing. We don't live in a high crime area. We just really like cameras. Steve put it best when he called it a hobby bordering on an obsession. With 11 Eufy cams and 2 outdoor Ring floodlight cameras, we think we're done buying cameras for a little while. Took a lot of research because they have so many options, but we are delighted with the Eufy cams that we purchased. Last typo. Ring is not capitalized. All right, what did I miss?
All sorts of stuff.
Did I?
A lot of talk about fireworks and illegal fireworks and people getting hurt and yeah.
Our housekeeper's, who was it? Her brother-in-law, I think, played with fireworks 2 years ago, blew off 3 of the fingers on his hand, and he can't work anymore. And they ended up moving in with our housekeeper, so there are like 7 people living in a 2-bedroom house. I think he's on his own now. He was able to get some different work, but he was a contractor and construction guy.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Have you done a save?
I don't know. Have I?
Probably would be good. Kevin's reminding us.
Save this one, and the thing I got to remember to do. I got to fix this thing at the front. Let's see. None.
What are you fixing up front?
I had said none of the Eufy outdoor camera gears work with HomeKit, but they actually do.
Ah.
There you go. Set it. The one thing I didn't talk about was how I did put them in HomeKit using Homebridge, and oh man, there was 2 days of my life I lost because I put the before we got the Homebase, I put all of the cameras, the outdoor cameras, into HomeKit using Homebridge, and I think the way it ended up working was I ended up with 2 of every one of the indoor cameras plus all of the outdoor cameras. It was a hot mess. I had to destroy a whole bunch of stuff. I had to upgrade, not Java. What was it? JSON? No, I forget. There's something that was out of date that I fixed with a new version, and then nothing worked. It's just
because Homebridge required that.
Yeah, it's what
update to Homebridge.
Grumpy Mike's gonna remember. What is it that I needed to update?
Node.js, of course.
Node.js, that's what it was. Node.js. So I upgraded Node.js, but I upgraded it too far to a higher level version, and then I could never figure out how to get it back down to the lower version, and then I gave up and said, okay, never mind. I like these cameras not being in HomeKit. All right.
We're getting close to the end here.
We are. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. I need to spend a little quality time with dinner.
Yeah, they're not going to be down for a while. Maybe you could spend quality time making me a gin and tonic.
There's that.
You know, would your feelings be hurt if I looked for a different cha-ching?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's kind of. But let me hear it again.
It's the closing of the cash
The
register.
closing. I mean, I could cut the closing, but does it?
We tried that, remember, and it just didn't quite.
Didn't have the closure.
Yeah.
Sandy wants one too. Okay, how do you take yours, Sandy? Virtual. I forgot my role. Yes, Lynn.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sandy,
I
we've
wanna
never
make it
had gin
okay.
and tonics because we always end up having breakfast with you when we come to Vegas. You
Well,
bringing
maybe we
Brandy
need to-
Alexander?
Maybe we need to have a different kind of breakfast.
Liquid breakfast? That would be good for Sandy driving back home.
Right.
Actually, last time we drove to Sandy, so that would work
Yeah.
for her. All right. Here we go. Actually, I just thought of something.
What's that?
With exception of Seamus, we've met everybody here in person. Kevin? Well, or we will know. Bruce says we've met before.
I don't
just
think
can't
we've met
remember.
Zoe yet in person,
No, we haven't met Zoe. Sorry.
but
Shoot.
we would like to.
We will.
obviously. We will. That's got to happen. I'm surprised it hasn't.
Mike and
One day.
no, we haven't met Mike. No.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you need to get up to.
Who have
come
we
on.
met here?
Okay, hush up. We've met Kevin, Bruce, Dave. Dave Ginsburg's here. Hi, Dave. Jill, John, Sandy. Yeah, we got to meet Zoe, Lynn, and Pie Man. Sutter. All right, let me do this. I have an idea, Steve.
Okay,
Of a
so
way to
Dave's
meet-
got one too for Twit.
Meet Zoe.
So they're little symbols. If you are a member of another Discord, they automatically show up, or do you add those, Dave and Zoe?
That's a good question. And why aren't there pod feed on that?
Yeah, I don't know if this is something Discord you pay for, or it's an advanced feature, or I
Come to
need to be
Seattle in
educated.
August. Oh my gosh. Zoe's going to a science fiction convention in August
wow.
in Seattle.
Which
What are the dates? Yeah, our August is pretty packed
yeah, but
already.
we're going to be in the Great Lakes in August.
Well,
not
that's
the
just
full
for a
month.
week
Yeah.
at the
Well,
Pop
well,
Culture
sure.
Museum. All the money's gone.
WorldCon, 13th,
13th to 17th.
17th. Yes, Jill is in
could
the Great Lakes.
We could fly to Seattle just to see Zoe. All
The
right.
biggest annual science fiction convention. I haven't. I
Steve.
don't think I've heard of that one. Well, actually, WorldCon I have. Yes, I just didn't know what it was.
You should look that up, Steve. Steve is crazy about science fiction. Maybe you should be doing book swap ideas with Zoe.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm on an Alistair Reynolds kick lately.
All right. Why don't you chat with her about that? I am from the Superior Lake. Nice. All right. I'm going to record. Here we go. Last week, I got a message from NosillaCast David Price telling me that he wanted to donate money to support the show, and he was using podfeed.com/donate to do it. This site lets you buy me a virtual coffee, or several of them if you want, at $5 a piece. He pointed out that there's 3 buttons for 1, 3, or 5 coffees, but he wanted to buy me 10 coffees. The pop-up that explains how this works says you can buy as many as you want, so his question was whether he had to buy 5 coffees twice. Turns out that the 4th item is a text box, and that populates with the number that you pick, but you can actually type in any number you like. Well, technically, it has to be an integer because it would waste the cup to buy me, 5.7 coffees, right? Once David was sorted, he was super happy to see that he could use Apple Pay at podfeed.com/donate. If this confusion's been holding you back, I hope this clears things up for you and you can go be awesome like David. Kevin. Nice. All right, we got some security bits. I'm going to do a chapter mark. Kevin's busy showing PDA here and not doing. There it is. The only problem is with my screen shortened like that, not able to see that last column. The column doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't work.
Oh, you can't.
What makes-
So you're not filling the text in for that last column?
I have to stretch the window for, if it's not visible, it's like it doesn't even exist. I can't hit tab and get to it.
Ah.
I wish I could make this square smaller. That's where you're supposed to put album artwork. But,
Mm-hmm.
oh, security bits, music. Where's my music? Oops.
We're going to be 16 miles northwest of Sutter's first apartment in Palatine,
Oh, really?
Illinois.
Well, maybe we'll pass by it.
Maybe we will.
There we go. And then we're going to do this. So we're going to go get one of these. And we're going to go get one of these. And, I just remembered that I can use my virtual Stream Deck. I was sitting there trying to remember how it was that I do that.
Mm-hmm.
But there we go. Can you see it when I do that? Let's
Mhm.
see.
Yes, we can
oh.
see that.
Oh, but no, you can't see the overlay.
No,
from,
we see the audio tracks.
Yeah, I was trying to see if you could see the overlay. Not that one. That one. Yeah.
Wait. You're not going
Oh,
to cut
sorry. Okay, here we go. No talking. Blink.
that. There we go. We're good.
Oh. Yeah, you need to make it there, Sutter.
think you're quite
It is so
aligned.
fun. Huh? I know it's not aligned, but I'm going to align it manually because
I didn't know Lake Superior was so big relative to the U.S. It's huge.
Nice, Steve. Let's see. Let me try right about there. All right. I'm going to try to get up there. See how that works. What the heck? Okay. All right. Nope. Here. There we go. These two. She was born up near where my grandmother lived. And in fact, she went right near that area in Lake Linden on the Houghton on the Keweenaw Peninsula. That's that little finger that goes up into the middle of Lake Superior. That water's cold. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with the lovely Bart Bouchatz. How is the lovely Bart Bouchatz today?
As I've been saying to people, I am. I've had some stuff going on in real life. I won't go into detail, but we had another bereavement in work, which is our third in a very small team. So I'm just being.
Pedaling as fast as you can to stay afloat, huh?
Well, no, I
mix
think
every
we've all
metaphor.
we've all given each other a break. All of us are pedaling very slowly, and no one's giving up to anyone about it.
Okay, that's probably a good approach because it's a shared pain.
Yes. Yeah. 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 I mean, I'm not terrible. I'm not great. I am.
Yeah. All right. Well, keep being.
I'll do me darndest. I also have annual leave coming up soon. One more week at work and then annual leave. So that'll be nice.
Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, that was sad. He had a tough week. Cut this off and go get my Bart audio icon. Stick it right here.
So you stay secure.
All right. I never did remember what my palate cleanser was. It'll come to me someday, but that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeed.com anytime you like? Comments, questions, suggestions? Hey, you could send me a recording of something cool so we can I can have fun on my vacations here this week. Too much. You could send me a... I could still use a few more recordings to make my vacation week in Michigan fun. And I'm already covered for this coming week, but there's a lot for me to juggle. So if you have a recording, send it on over to allison@podfeed.com. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You can follow me on Mastodon at podfeed.com/Mastodon. If you want to listen to the podcast on YouTube, where are you going to go? Podfeed.com/YouTube. If you want to join the conversation, you can talk to our Slack community at podfeed.com/Slack. And in there, you can talk to me and all of the other lovely NosillaCast castaways. It's a lovely community. You can support the show at podfeed.com/Patreon or with a one-time donation at podfeed.com/donate, like David Price did this week, where he was happy to use Apple Pay. Or you can use PayPal if you want at podfeed.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, you're going to have to wait until 2 weeks from now to head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. A lot of vocal fry on that one.
Yep. Really fried it up. Fried it up in a pan.
All right, where's my...
Hey, someone please remind me. So throughout the show, I've been getting the offer to switch devices on, and my Mac wants to pick up the iPhone as probably an audio source or something. What is that? Is that a continuity? What is that?
I just happened to have found that today because I turned it off.
I'm trying to find it again.
I think it's under... Is it under camera?
Maybe it's...
Where was it?
Yeah, maybe it was camera. I wanted continuity camera. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah,
now,
but
how do you
where
get
is
to
continuity camera?
And do
I
I
tried
get to it in
searching it, it wouldn't work.
iOS? Not Mac,
Yes.
right?
iOS.
Is it under camera or something else?
No, I think it isn't.
It's probably under...
Bart found it by searching, but I didn't find it. It wouldn't come up for me.
Oh, let me try that. Continuity.
Oh, there it is. General airplane continuity.
Airplane?
Airplane and continuity.
Oh, there it is.
And then
Okay,
at the
so-
second to the bottom, toggle that off.
Continuity camera. Off. Thank you.
All right.
Well...
I think we are...
How
we should probably count chapters.
Yeah, we should. Hold on.
I only see 4.
How many lights are there? I see 4 as well.
All right. Can't wait to
Speaking
see
of
you, Dave.
sci-fi.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to Mac Stock, seeing you, Dave, and John, and who else is going to be there? Jill? Jill's
Jill's
be there.
going to be there. She'll be on stage.
Bruce?
Bruce? That's right.
I think in this list that might be it.
Marty. Marty's not here.
Marty's not here. There'll be a lot of people not here
Yeah.
who will be there.
Oh, Dave's just sending random names. Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff, right. Well, there were going to be a few.
Right.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it.
All
yes,
right,
she will,
everybody.
John.
I
Completely.
don't know if you're wearing the right shirt. You know, I might have to be nice to you, right?
Right.
All right. Well, I'm actually already pushing the show up because it's going to take a little while here.
All right. And I think
Lindsay's-
I owe you a refreshment.
You do. We haven't had enough
I don't
gin
know
and
why,
tonics this
but,
week. All right, everybody. We will see you in
Not
2
next
weeks.
week. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Night all.